Hello friends and enemies. Today we're going to be looking at a game between my Canadian Highlander deck, Plague Doctor's Mask, versus Boros Aggro. So game one, I keep this hand because there's card advantage, there's Torpor Orb. Torpor Orb is really important for stopping the initiative. Like I said in my deck profile, although this is a newer version of the deck, comment down below if you're interested in seeing another updated deck list. I will put it in the link below. Now, I keep this because it has Torpor Orb. It has Dark Confidant, which is a really good card in my deck because my deck is really low to the ground, and I have a lot of lands in my deck, so 1/3 of my deck is lands. So he'll usually just get me another card draw for free, dig me deeper into the deck, which helps a lot against some decks, keeping up with the advantage. Cling to Dust is here as a potential card draw or potential gain life. And Zern Orb is always good because it always threatens a combo with Fast Bond and Crucible or Ramanap Excavator, which is also in the deck. So I start off playing Zern Orb. It's always good to play Zern Orb in case your opponent plays hand attack, or so you don't want your pieces to get hand attacked just in case. Here I play a turn 2 Torpor Orb, which is really good because they're on white red means that their initiative is locked away, so their card draw is limited in those colors. Here I play Mind Stone into a Dark Confidant. Here I also fetched around Wasteland because I thought that getting Wasteland would be bad. Perhaps it was a bit greedy because I have a Courser in my hand. But the problem with that is if they blow it up, then I don't have a Courser and I have a land less. So I just wanted to keep my land safe from the Wasteland from my opponent. They play a Dried Militant and a Selfless Spirit. Now, I don't mind trading my Bob for a Dried Militant because it makes it a removal spell. It already got me a card. I guess I draw a Strip Mine, which is nice. I'm going to draw another one, draw Bazaar. Strip Mine their red source because I don't want it to have reach or potential removal for Dark Confidant. They attack me. They realize that I would gladly block, so they don't attack with Dried Militant. Dried Militant is an annoying card because cards like Life from the Loam get exiled, and I don't want them to be exiled, so it poses a real problem. Here I managed to get a green source into my Courser of Crufix. Now I can see the top card of my library, and I know I'll be taking 2 from Witherbloom Command. I also know my Witherbloom Command means I'll be getting rid of the Selfless Spirit next turn. They played a Hopeful Initiate, which grows whenever it attacks with a creature and can remove 2 counters to kill one of my artifacts or enchantments, which I'm worried about because of my Torpor, but I probably shouldn't have been that worried. You probably weren't going to sacrifice their DPS. Now, here's a Glacial Chasm. Glacial Chasm sacrifices land when it enters, and it says my creatures can't attack, and I don't take any damage. This is a combo piece and a way to stall the game a bit so that I don't lose the game. Here I played a Witherbloom Command, killing their spirit and draining them for 2. Those 2 life could matter. So I'm glad that Witherbloom Command is like getting back a land like Strip Mine was an option, but like I think this is better because I don't know what kind of reach my opponent has. They play a Giver of Runes. I have a 2/4 blocker, which is great because everything they have is low to the ground. In order for this to grow, they have to attack with another creature, meaning an unfavorable trade for them. Dark Confidant draws me a card for free again. I get a Wasteland. Here I want to Wasteland their Wasteland so they can't Wasteland what I can play. Here they tap to draw with Horizon Canopy, which I don't know why they did. It severely limits them on mana, and it could pose a problem. they play a land and pass the turn because attacking into this is pointless. Even if they give it protection from green, it's kind of okay. So I draw passageways here, which usually would give me the initiative, but since there's a torpor orb, I can't. But it's a 2/2 body. That's why I play it. It's 2/2 body with lifelink. I see that I will be drawing him to Turak, which is fine. They path to exile their own card so that they can get a land because of Tabernacle in play. They play an Ancient Tomb, which doesn't do a lot if they don't have anything to play. They're probably struggling. Here I ordered the triggers, and I decide not to pay for the 2/2, but I will pay for the Courser and Dark Confidant because they keep giving me card advantage in life. I draw Relic of Progenitus return. I play a Verdant Catacomb off the top, and now I see that I could draw removal, but I don't want to. I get a hand attack instead. Play Relic of Progenitus, start exiling the graveyard, and slowly trying to gain an advantage with these two. At this point, they don't have many threats, and they're probably struggling to get a threat on board. So this is a pretty one-sided game for a deck like mine. They play another creature that buffs their Hopeful Initiate, but I can just block it. If they attacked with Giver Runes as well, then it would be a 4/4. I couldn't block it, but then they would lose a Giver Runes, which is arguably worse against my deck. Here I pay to keep my creatures and draw a card off of Dark Confidant. I see that I'll be drawing Liliana of the Whale, which is great because she can act as removal. I Bazaar of Baghdad, discarding some lands and cards I don't need. This land is kind of insane with certain cards in deck like Uber Mask, but it's also pretty good when my hand is full of cards I don't need. Especially with card advantage engines such as Dark Confidant. So now they have to constantly pay 2 to keep their threats alive because of Tabernacle, a card that was definitely well designed and fair at the time it was printed, but not anymore. The only downside to it was that it was a legendary land, so you couldn't have multiples. And the old legend rule basically said, oh, if one player got a legend, then the other one couldn't play the same legend because only one existed, which is, like, I understand from a flavor perspective, but that's kind of stupid from a gameplay perspective, and you should always balance the game versus flavor dichotomy. So I get a Karn, get a token, make each player discard. And here I'm just trying to get the door shut. Now I have the construct token, and soon I'll have another one. And this is pretty over for my opponent. But they're not conceding, they're trying to play to their rights. I respect that. The biggest frustration people get against attrition decks in general, or prison decks, is that they don't know when to concede. Often a game is pretty over at some point, but they keep playing regardless of the game basically being locked up. It's either out of spite or out of lack of knowledge of like the way a deck wins. Like if here it's still pretty like it can be like there can be a comeback, but it would require very specific cards. And here I just get an Urza Saga, I get a Rack. Rack is how I'll start dealing damage to them. I have a Him to Turek to set up the Rack, so it deals 3 damage each turn. And yeah, this is over. I believe they concede soon, but I could be wrong. Here I force them to sacrifice a creature, make another construct, and yeah, this game is not looking good for the opponent. Well, that's all I'm gonna say. Again, they have to pay mana to keep their creatures on board. I can always sacrifice my Tabernacle, which is what I plan to do. so I don't have to get rid of these, but this is game 1. Now for game 2. Game 2, I keep a very suspect hand. I keep it because I say, oh, it has mana sources, has removal, and I drew a Tabernacle. I was feeling pretty confident, but this hand should never be kept. I got really greedy because I was a game up, and I thought, okay, as long as they don't get an explosive start, and then they drew an Ancient Tomb and got the initiative, and I could have just conceded here, but yeah, the game doesn't end well. I get one of their lands, discard some cards, but at this point, I just can't recover. And now they play a Boromir, which basically means that I will never be able to kill this, and I keep drawing lands. So yeah, this game does not end well. It ends with me conceding. After they play this Stoneforge Mystic, I just say, okay, the game is over. And now it's time for the all-important game 3. Game 3, I keep a pretty solid hand. It has a Strip Mine, has Courser for a good Courser, which is a good blocker, has a Toxic Deluge for removal, which I can save up to later so that they overextend, and then I can take over the game. They play an Esper Sentinel, which basically lets them draw a card whenever I play a non-creature spell, which is pretty good against my deck because my deck doesn't run many creatures, and paying for this is annoying. But at the same time, when my deck gets going and gets his game plan online, I don't actually mind. I don't mind not paying. I get their plateau with my Strip Mine. Next turn, I just play a Trading Post, which is an amazing card, which lets me attrition. And here they just concede because they have nothing. So these were it was kind of one-sided after game 2 and 3, but yeah, that's the deck. It can win some matchups, and boy, does it know how to lose some as well. But yeah, this has been Plague Doctor's Mask. Like, share, subscribe, interact, comment, all of the engagement stuff, and I will see you in the next episode.